Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Shriyaya. Joining me today is General Ravi Shankar now, and in a short while, General Dushyant Singh, as we look at the evolving conflict between Iran with Israel and United States. Let's welcome General Shankar. General Shankar, Namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar, thanks a lot. We are all fine. I wonder what's happening between Israel and Iran and USA there. Things are pretty bad out there, getting worse by this day. But let's shoot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, viewers, one of the concerns that's now being raised in the United States is how long will their arms and ammunition last? For example, Tomahawk missile. This is a very strong, powerful missile, and it is believed that that was what was used to hit that one school compound where over 180 children died. The thing is that one Tomahawk missile takes 1 kilogram of silver. So you have raw material challenges. You also have the Tomahawk itself. How many do they have left? Remember that they were using this off and on in the Ukraine conflict also. And this is just one particular thing we are talking about. F-35, same story. 920 pounds of rare earth materials needed to build one aircraft. Rare earth, 920 pounds, 400 kilograms, give or take. So there are real challenges that are facing United States, and they need to balance that as to what exactly is the objective in Iran. So I'm going to be doing a deep down on this one. Take a look at that one also afterwards. This is just general's opinion because they know best how wars are won and how wars are fought. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thanks a lot. This is a general perception that US might run out of ammunition and that it has not gone in with adequate ammunition. And we are into the ninth day of the war, and there's already concerns that US might run out of ammunition. Tomahawk missiles is one thing which said they might be running. Many such things come out. But what I'd like to first put across is the US version. I mean, what does the USA say? You're the person who's affected most, and there, if you could put the first clip with General Dan Kane, he tells it all because I would like him to explain it to you. Yeah, please.
To those who would test our resolve or threaten the United States, our allies, or our interests, understand clearly we can reach you, we can sustain the fight, and we can scale the fight, and we will prevail. To the American people, your joint force remains steady, frosty, calm, and focused. Your service members are trained, disciplined, and determined. We understand the risks of this mission and the weight of the responsibility that we carry. We also recognize that our families also shoulder the burden at home. You are a part of this too. I am proud today, as I am every day, to stand as a member of America's joint force. There is no mission too complex, no distance too great, and no adversary too determined for the men and women who wear our nation's uniform.
I think that's okay. We'll take it off. See, what did he say in the beginning? He says, I want to give a clear message. I have the capability to sustain. I have the capability to scale. That means he's got the capability to increase his capability to fire, or rather, he's got that. So, for this Joint Force Commander, Joint Chief of Joint Forces, to come and say this is on the third day of the war. That he came and they gave this briefing. I think after 72 hours, they gave this briefing. So, this is about 3 days, 4 days back. And he's said this to not only the world, but he said this to America and his constituency, rather at home, everyone. So they were very clearly laid out that they are capable. So on face value, I don't underestimate what he's saying. One odd missile or one odd thing might be shot, But that's part of this thing. Now let me put certain things in picture. If I get too technical, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, when you plan for an operation, you say, okay, I will be able to do this operation in A, B, C time frame, whatever the time frame. And to carry out this operation, I need to do this, and this. I'm very sure that the US forces, before getting into this place, had done that homework as to how much ammunition they'll need. And they had done their thing as to what all targets they're going to target and destroy. And this is probably a second iteration. Remember, this iteration has gone through once in May, June last year, the 12-day war. Uh, One. Number two, Israel would have good data about all this, right? And what will be the ammunition expenditure, how much they expended, everything. And they would, and there's also a joint operation. They're working seamlessly on this. So both the countries know how much to use, how much to expect, and how much ammunition they have. Because you don't go into an operation first and then you fire off whatever you have and then look around and say, oh, I don't have this ammunition. So, and they've been building this force up there for over 30 days. It's taken them more than a month to build this force up. Then the next thing is that they were very clear from the beginning that this is going to be an operation without boots. If this was an operation without boots, very clearly they knew the amount of ammunition which you have to spend would increase. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So if there's going to be an air war, and they have experience in Kosovo and Serbia, that's how the whole thing started, that winning by air. And so the the planners of this operation would have taken a clear idea as to how much ammunition they would need of each variety and matched it with target, all that. So that's the first part. Before you say US is running out of ammunition. The second thing, for every problem, there are a couple of solutions in the forge. Otherwise, you don't go in. This is the standard operating procedure. Okay, if you can hit, I'm giving it to you out of actual personal experience. When we were doing joint planning with the Air Force, right? We used to take a target, analyze it, and say, okay, if I have to hit this target with a particular weapon, I will need so much ammunition. I can also destroy this weapon with something which the Air Force has. I can destroy this weapon with something which the Navy has, with the Army has, or within the Army something which artillery has or whoever has. So you do the target analysis, and these are done. These are standard things which are already available. You also, to the extent the planning process is so fine and so in depth, that the mean points of impact, it's called DPIs, I'll not, right? Where you want to hit, how you want to hit the target is all worked out. You analyze that target and you work it out. So, why am I telling you this? So it is not as if, say, okay, it's possible that the USA is running short of Tomahawk missiles in the theater. It's okay. They'll use gravity bombs. They'll use gravity bombs with slap-on guidance. The same work, and especially now that they have full freedom of air. There's no opposition. There's no aircraft being shot down. There's no anti-aircraft defenses. What does Iran have militarily? They have a ground force which will fight if when the time comes, if and when the time comes, and then they have missiles. There's nothing else they have. They don't have air force, nothing. So you have complete freedom of skies. You can fire from wherever you want, whatever you want. So if that is the case, what's the difference between using a Tomahawk missile or a cruise missile? What is Tomahawk? Tomahawk is a cruise missile. It's a subsonic cruise missile with long range. Okay. So what's the difference between using a Tomahawk missile and a gravity bomb? A gravity bomb, you have to go over the target. Gravity bomb is something like what we use in Balakot, right? You use a normal bomb with the spice guidance attachment. Same thing they have, right? Their what JDAM programs is all this only. And they had a whole lot of old ammunition which had with this JDAM ammunition they can use. So to that extent, I think they have adequate switch capability. Any force will have. Okay. And we are only in the 7th day of the war. So to that extent, I am not too sure whether this is right also to think that America doesn't have the capability to sustain. When the chief of joint staff is saying that I have the capability not only to sustain, but I have the capability to scale up. Right? A third thing is the number of engagements have reduced. They've naturally reduced. Because how many targets, the same target you can't keep hitting. You have to hit new targets. The new targets will become scarce. The number of, if there are large reports to say that, Iranian missile launches have fallen by 70%, 80%, all that is there. All those are coming out figures. But if that is so, even Americans have reduced because the number of targets have reduced. How many more targets can you hit? Iranians have more choice of targets because they are hitting 9 countries. Okay. And Americans don't have that. And Americans to hit the oil refineries or desalination plants of Iran, or for that matter, Karg Island kind of targets, not Iran, USA has adequate ammunition. For that, you don't need only Tomahawk missiles. And no, that's not the only one. So there are plenty of alternatives available for a huge force like USAF or US Navy. They have tremendous. Then there would be some inventory with US Navies, there would be some inventory with US Air Force. Different inventory, different ammunition. So they have tremendous range of ammunition available with them. So to think that USA can't destroy a target because of lack of ammunition is saying no. I've now still not come to certain key issues. Remember, they have 8 theater command. Yeah, please. You had a
Yes.
point?
Sorry to interrupt the flow. Viewers, this is coming live from Gunnershot, P Gurus, as well as Strategic Frontlines. Wherever you are watching, please like this video. And also, if you have not subscribed to that channel, please do subscribe to that channel. General Dushyant will be joining us shortly. Sorry for the interruption, sir. I needed to do this thing because we need to get much more traffic than what we are getting. And this is one way it will happen. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. So as I was saying, so the US all over the world has got 8 commands, 8 theaters, right? Each theater will have its own ammunition stack wherever it is, right? Each theater is supposed to be for a particular, tasking and all that. So if the other theaters are not active and other theaters don't need these, they will say, okay, move from one theater to the other. It's not a big deal. Okay. So there would be discussion on and whatever is required on the battle, because this is the only battle going on, so they'll get it. If there is criticality, if there's no criticality, it doesn't matter. The next point in the story is there's always a surge capacity. See, it's nice to say industry has gone, but I know personally that the US capability to manufacture weapons is still intact to a large extent. The numbers would have gone down, but by now, I think in the past 1 year, they would have started revving it up. Given the fact that the Trump administration has given adequate budgets, see,
Correct.
a lot of budgeting has gone into this whole thing. And so before doing all this, see, they also were ready for Venezuela. Okay. So I don't think it is a case where they don't have capability to surge. They will have some capability to surge. All one has to see is, does this surge capacity match with the expenditure capacity which is going on ground? Like I said, it is just not the surge of one kind of a system, surge in 3, 4 systems, so that the people on ground have the choice of using one weapon or the other, one bomb or the other, one missile or the other. So there are alternatives. So I think. Let me also get you something about figures. There is, all armies work on something called scaling, which is fundamental because scaling is something fundamental to the way you plan and prepare for a war. Part of your preparedness is scaling. Now, what is scaling? Scaling is okay. If you have a gun, I'll take the example of a gun, which will be simplest to understand. You have a gun. The gun in a day over a period of time is expected to spend about 50 rounds of ammunition, right? So those 50 rounds are scaled. It's called one day's WWR. In Indian terms, it's called war wastage reserve. Okay. Now, how thing is that uh, this is again true in most armies. So every weapon has a first line. What is this first line? The first line of ammunition is that ammunition which is held on the weapon. And then they have second line. The second line is that ammunition which comes from the second line of reserve and feeds into the first line. And then there's some third line, fourth line, which feeds into the second line. So it's a chain system. A chain continuously operates and the rounds keep going the other side from the first line. Right? At every point of time, the attempt is not to touch the first line. You fire from the first line, but you immediately replenish it from the second line. That's the way it is. You actually are operating on second lines. When you do for calculations, you are actually using, okay, how many second lines you used. You don't touch the first line. If your national capacity of second lines is completely finished, or you're cut off, or anything, then you touch the first line. It's not that you don't fire from the first line. The first line is immediately replenished. So it's the second line which matters most. So, like I said, a second line for a weapon, I'm just giving a ballpark figure, say is 50 rounds. What is this 50 rounds based on? This 50 rounds is based on the fact that in a 24-hour cycle, you'll engage so many targets, and these many targets will require so much ammunition that by practice and by rote or tradition is say about 50 rounds. In a day, you'll fire 50 rounds, though you can fire 100 rounds. Okay. And you cater for 100 rounds in a day. 100 rounds in a day per gun is quite a bit. So you're looking at 50 rounds. So the reserves in the any army generally are held in terms of second lines. Okay. So you say, I have to be prepared for a 30-day war. Okay. I have to be prepared for a 30-day war. That means I'm holding 30 second lines somewhere. Okay. 30-second lines. They could be next to my gun. It could be back in, for America, it could be back in some Fort Missouri or someplace. Or in between somewhere in depots, suppose. They spread out in a man. There's logic in this, it's spread out. Now, like I said, 50 rounds per second line. And say for 1 month, you need 30. 30 into 50 is 1500.
1500.
1500. So if this gun, if it has to keep firing for 30 days, it needs 1500 rounds. And that 1500 is tagged somewhere. It's kept somewhere. It's available. The system will feed that 1500 rounds. But when you plan at macro level, you need for the whole army. You plan for the whole army. This 30 days is based on the whole army. So if it is based on the whole army, let's say again a ballpark figure, USA has got 2000 guns of a particular variety. Okay? 2000 guns overall in the army. So if there are 2000 guns in the army and each gun should be ready to fight for 30 days with 50 rounds, what will be the total number of rounds for
2000 times
overall in that?
1500. Yeah. Yeah.
That is 3 million. You're looking at 3 million rounds. Okay. But the fact is, when an army goes to war, not all 2000 guns go and fight.
Right.
See,
Right.
even, these same guns will be in Pacific Command, they'll be in North Africa Command, they'll be in Euro Command, they'll be in Central Command, they're spread. 2000 guns the army has, US Army. So they'll be spread all over. Actually, in that theater, well, let's say for purposes of this thing, there are only 500 guns, one fourth. Okay. So if you have only one fourth of those guns, then actually, if I have to fire with only one fourth of these guns, and I take my risk and say I couldn't care a damn if the rest of the guns in the rest of the world, in rest of my areas, operational theaters don't have ammunition, I'll get all that ammunition of those 2000 guns and fire from 500 guns. Then my capacity of that 3 million increases fourfold.
Correct.
So what I
Correct.
started with 300, 30 days of ammunition now becomes fourfold. How much? Goes to 120. Why am I saying all this? This is the way we calculate. This is only a thumb rule for calculation. So if the number of guns, and I'm sure here the what of the total holding of USA, there'll be hardly, I wouldn't say one fourth is a very high figure for all these things. They would be hardly using about, okay, let's put one fourth for thing. So if all goes bad and all goes south and everything they finish, they still have 3 times this somewhere around. So they'll move. I hope you're understanding this logic. Right. So when you say 30, this thing, it's not so. These are all temporary glitches in battle. And let me tell you, I'm talking from experience of what happened in Kargil. I'm talking for experience of what we planned in 2016. In 2016, when that first surgical strikes happened in India, we were getting indications that Pakistan might do something. And so there was a question. We did some checks to say, okay, are we ready for war? There are issues in this. I'll come to the other 30 days ammunition. There are issues in that, practical issues, day-to-day issues. So then we did a check and we saw, yeah, we have adequate, we can last. And then we matched the surge capacity and we said, yes, we can. If there's a war, we are ready for it. We might not have all kinds of ammunition, but we have adequate of what we want. And then whatever happened, happened. Now let me get to the 30 days which is available, which a ballpark figure I'm using. Now you're supposed to hold 30 days, but it might not always be so. Why it might not be always so? It might not be so because that ammunition is probably defective. That factory which made that ammunition was tasked to make something else, so he's not able to cope up, and all that. There are so many ifs. The ammunition which was in storage went bad because ammunition goes bad. Then there's some ammunition which is defective, you can't use, which goes defective during the lifetime of that ammunition. So if you have about, out of 30 days, 24, 25 days, you're okay, 80% holding, you're through. Let me tell you, in India, we were in 2010. And why I'm telling you this is come in Hindu. A person called Rahul Bedi, I can never forget. And he said, sir, hats off to you. I mean, I'm quoting. He said, hats off to you, the way you have planned. In 7 years, you turned the whole story around. And 2010, he wrote an article. He says, an army in search of guns and artillery in search of ammunition, because we didn't have both. Okay. And we went into the details. These are things which we considered. Where is it? How is it? Get the search fire thing done. Yeah, wo. For a nation like USA, which has been in this game for so long, I mean, to think that they're not ready is out of equation. Just out. Yes, there might be that odd weapon system or odd warhead which is not available. But I mean, that too in short, not in adequate numbers, which they probably would like to have. So they're making do with other things. What I heard is instead of tomahawks, there is some shortage of tomahawks, which I'm sure they will make up in a matter of 2 3 days, or by now it would have been made up also. What I heard is they're using gravity bombs because they have complete freedom of action in the air, and they're using gravity bombs with terminal guidance. It's just as good. And remember, the target which is being hit doesn't need always a missile to hit it. It needs a warhead. Whether that warhead is with the with the tomahawk missile or a blowpipe, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you look at it, if I have a blowpipe and I'll do that, and that arrow goes and hits something in Iran and it blows that place up. It's good enough, isn't it? What
Yeah.
is the ultimate end? Ultimate end is to destroy the target. So I'm sure USA is using different methods to destroy targets, and they have adequate matches because not all targets can be matched with all kinds of ammunition. There would be specialist ammunition, and USA is very good at it. And let me tell you that again, I can vouch for it. Very good at it, the way they match their targets with warheads, and their range of ammunition is superb. I don't think I would be too worried about these newspaper reports which are coming. And I wouldn't find fault with what you're saying also. Oh, each weapon needs so much silver, it needs so much rare earths, all that. That is the way you look at it when you're preparing. When you're preparing, you do what you're saying is 100% right. But in this kind of a situation, they'll move resources. If there's a surge capacity to be put in place, it would already be in place by now. In fact, the way I look at it, the surge capacity would have been put in place before they went in here. Okay. Yeah, these are done. These are normal things. So I thought I'll put all these issues across. You have any questions, and you're sure. I would like you to ask questions so that we clarify this story to everyone. But let me also give you the same thing goes for Iran also. It's not as if that's why Iran, you see, is quite confident. They have somewhere they're making their missiles. More than the missiles, somewhere they're making their uh, drones. They have drone factory somewhere. The Shahid drones, whatever it is. You might say this drone is better than the other drone, but it doesn't matter. As far as you have a drone and it goes and hits the target, oh, it doesn't matter whether you get killed by a walnut falling on your nut, or you get killed by a big bomb falling on your head. You're killed. End of story. So Iran also would be doing the same thing. Of course, they're under tremendous construction because a lot of their facilities were hit. I mean, for example, you can't hide a TNT plant. You can't hide it. Okay. A TNT plant is very vulnerable. Anywhere in the vicinity of the TNT plant, if you go and blow up a thing, it just goes. One other thing in the train TNT is what's that? Trinitroglycerin. Okay. No, nitroglycerin. Now that is tricky. That's very tricky. That's such a sensitive plant. I must tell this. You go in that plant, you're not even allowed to clap. You're not allowed to clap also. If you clap in that plant, tack, it goes. So if you go into that plant, very few guys are allowed into that plant. You have to wear rubber shoes, you have to wear protection, everything. Even then, you watch that whole thing from a distance. And at a point of time, only one or two guys can go in and all that. When it is this thing, of course, I've seen those plants. All these plants I've seen in close quarters because it was my business. But I've never seen a plant in operation. I must also tell you this. I must be honest. I've never seen a plant in operation because they said, sorry, sir, you can't go there. You will be this thing. And the guys, I still remember, the two guys who were operating that plant, just two chaps, final. I will not tell you where it is. I will not tell you. But that guy, when you look at him, if you look at him, no, in a street shop, he might be buying bananas or something like that. He was an insignificant fellow. Normal man, normal worker. Okay. But he's got that expertise. And I remember I asked these chaps, he says, yes, sir, I've been operating this plant for the past 15 years. And here I'm the king. Even the factory manager, okay, that he, or the managing director, whatever you call that factory, he can't tell me what to do. Once the factory is, the process is on, everyone has to follow what I have to do. What do I say? There are only two guys who could do that. So these are things, which I'm sure USA has got the capability. To think that they don't have the capability is not correct. To think that such capability of Iran has not been taken out so far is also not is being foolish. By now, all that would have gone. Iran, remember, is working on dwindling rates with very few replacements. Thing is, can Iran outlast USA in politically? It has widened the whole story horizontally and raised the cost politically. Remember, Iran, I kept saying this from the first day, Iran is fighting for regime survival with politically through escalation, horizontal escalation, creating situations for all the neighboring countries, political. Whereas USA is fighting this militarily. And militarily, they are saying regime change. So that's the bigger problem. It's not ammunition. So back to you and your question, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. I was just trying to check if General Dushyant is going to be able to make it. I haven't seen any updates from him. Hopefully, he will still join us.
Yeah,
There's
he
so
will
much
come
to
on. Let's
discuss.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much to discuss. And also, I really thank General Shankar for putting that reality in all these things. Not just keep, the intent was not to try and blow things out of proportion. That this is the reality of the situation because US has been supplying these missiles to the Ukraine conflict, some of them, and also to Israel. So there is that challenge, and US also knows, like General said, that you model all these things, and you already have this game plan. They would have already planned for the worst case scenario. And there's also messaging that is deliberately kept vague. So you really don't know which way they are going to go. For example, president says one thing, the secretary of war says something exactly opposite. So you're guessing who's right. And these are all also happening. It's part of that obfuscation strategy to keep people guessing. The interesting thing here is looks like the IRGC has complete command over the country even today, and it's like a vice-like grip. 47 years, right? And they have already got this. You have tasted power. Once you taste power, you're not going to let go so easily. And I see remnants of that as a psychological thing to not give up, sir.
Yeah, what I want to reinforce what you said. I just read. If you read the new Mostaba Kamanai's, what he's been up to and all, he's got a multi-billion-dollar empire globally
Right.
from Iran. Okay, and he said he was in the IRGC. So the entire IRGC controls the entire business of Iran. So it's not. So I just thought. Sorry for the interjection, but I thought this was too important a thing not to be mentioned. Over to you, sir.
So the Khamenei family is awash in billions. The senior was supposed to have had assets close to 200 billion spread all over the world, and this guy is no less. I mean, he's part of the family
It's
anyway.
part of that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, you viewers, what I'm trying to say is this is not something where the actual leadership is going to come out and say, these are the ones making the calls. And the more Israel tries to wipe out the top, the more they're going to go and burrow themselves in. At the same time, keep control over this power. It's a difficult situation. It's a different situation where the enemy doesn't come out. You don't know who the enemy is. Pretty soon, I can tell you, you don't even know who is your real enemy. And also, Israel is trying something from bottom up, from what I can see. I don't know if you've seen this, General Shankar. What's happening is Basij. Remember, these are the volunteers that go into IRGC. These Basij volunteers are getting messages on their Telegram. Everybody works only on Telegram, believe it or not. This is the 3Hs. All these people trust in Telegram. And they're getting Telegram messages from people that they don't know saying, we know who you are, we know what you have done, and we can get you anytime. Surrender or flee. That's the message being given. So Israel has already taken out the top. It's also working its way through the bottom. But bottom up approach is going to take time. It's not something that's easy. And not everybody is going to, pay. Not everybody, how should I say, values his life over religion. This is the other big problem. Shahada. The religion determines what you want to do. If people are told that your life begins after death, then the whole logic, is turned on its head. So you have these psychological things to play with, and I completely see where General Shankar is coming from. And in United States is trying different things. We'll have to wait and see. This is a game of patience, in my opinion. Sir, over to you, and then we can take some questions.
Yeah. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all, either for US or Iran. The thing is, who's going to last this whole story out, and how people are going to last each other out, how the whole thing is going to achieve. Because, like we discussed in the morning, do I see an exit plan for either? I don't see. I don't see an exit plan for either. How do they? So far, the exit plan doesn't exist. Both are revving it up still, right? They have to reach the point where they say, okay, it's time we started discussing. And is there a case? I mean, I would put it this way, honestly, is there a case for India to start this mediation? Because we have good equation with USA, we have good equation with Iran also. Iran also. Is there a case? It's a high risk proposition. It's an iffy proposition whether it will work or not, right? And we have good equation with the Gulf countries also, right? Except probably Pakistan. Everyone else in this region trusts us. So I feel that we have to start talking to both, and so we need to. This is my firm view. We missed an opportunity already earlier, when the Hamas-Israel thing started. We missed an opportunity during the entire 4 years of Ukraine war. I thought when Prime Minister Modi had gone to Ukraine and Russia all within a space of 1 month, we had this opportunity to talk. And, after all, our Prime Minister had some of the best equations with President Putin, right? So we had, even now we have a good equation with Iran, we have a good equation with USA, we have a very good equation with Israel. After all, not far back, 28th February, our Prime Minister was there 10 years back, 10 days back, not even 10 days back. So is there a case for us to start this process and say, okay, we will, because so far, look, oil has crossed $100 a barrel. It went up to 117 and it has come down because the reserves have been released and all that, strategic reserves. But that has got no solace. The And the US Energy Secretary says within a short time, escorted vessels will go out of Strait of Hormuz and all that. But that I don't think will happen in a hurry, unless there is a some kind of a political thing. So, is there a case? Let me ask you this question: is there a case for India to uh, propose mediation or take steps to mediate?
I definitely think India has a case, and also the backstory that is coming up about that sinking of that ship off of the coast of Sri Lanka. People, US won't admit it, but I know from reliable sources that inside the Pentagon and probably inside the White House, they figured that this probably was not needed. And anyway, it's done, it's over with. So what I'm trying to say is, at least India had, given shelter to the other ship, and therefore, what happens is to, basically complement what General Shankar is saying, that it has the trust of both countries. And also, Iran needs rice from India badly. See, that's one of the things about doing trade with Iran. Iran doesn't mind taking rupees for its oil from India because they get to use that to buy rice. And
Yeah.
so therefore, this food ships have to start flowing again, and those are all stuck up. Many are stuck inside the Hormuz Strait because they have to come after having delivered their supplies and then pick up the next one and go off. I've said this thing many times. You have to just drive from Hyderabad all the way to Mumbai and see how many orchards, how many poultry farms, how many fisheries, how many things, all of which the output goes directly to the Middle East. One country or the other. There's a complete network that
Hey,
operates
entire
very
Pakistan,
smoothly.
Pakistan is dependent on this, sir.
Yeah,
Pakistan.
yeah,
And
yeah.
let me tell you, if this war continues, I have been saying this from day one. The first country which will keel over is Pakistan. They don't have fuel as it is. They don't have money to buy anything. And Dubai, everything is closed. Jebel Ali is closed. Everything is closed from Dubai. Hormuz is closed. Food going in is far away. Pakistan will not have anything. The
Right.
bigger problem I see from an Indian perspective is Pakistan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I thought,
So
yeah, yes, please.
India has
See,
the capacity to probably do something like a pause for 24 hours to let some of these food related stuff to move through. And this is both sides needed. It's not, well, this is the other interesting story. This was the one that got sunk. India offered sanctuary, but the ship preferred to go to Sri Lanka. That's the other story that's doing. Look, it's over, it is sunk. Let's just move on. What I'm trying to say is something forward, that in the next 72 hours, there may be a window of opening where maybe some people who are stuck in these countries may be allowed to come on ships which are probably not carrying much into India, and then you dock here and food starts going back up there, and at least have some way of saying that, because both sides are going to lose out here. Both sides will start starving. That's a good. So being a provider of food gives you a lot of credibility.
yeah, there's
You're
no
not
doubt.
picking sides. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not picking sides.
so
Yeah,
even by now, everyone knows India is not going to pick sides. And, I think today our external affairs minister has made India's interest very clear in this whole thing in the
yeah.
parliament.
Let's watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can put it. Yeah, get that. Please get that, please. Yeah,
Yeah.
I picked
in
this
this
click up
volatile
today.
situation. Honorable Chairman, sir, let me conclude by highlighting the three guiding factors of our approach. One, India is in favor of peace and urges a return to dialogue and diplomacy. We advocate de-escalation, restraint, and ensuring the safety of civilians. Two, the well-being and security of the Indian community in the region is our priority. We will continue to work with the governments of the region towards that end. And three, our national interest, including energy security and trade flows, will always be paramount. I'm confident, sir, that the government has the full support of this august House on this matter. I thank you.
So it's very clear. It can be clearer. But at this point of time, if our interest is only what our external affairs minister has said for India, fine, we're there already. I don't think we are out. Already over 25, 30 flights have extricated people from there. And then more,
Right.
they'll continue. This will, right? We have this tradition of extricating people from troubled areas and successfully at that. So we'll do that. But is there something else? See, again, if you want to become a regional power, you want to become a global player, all that, you have to start the business of mediating. Right? That's my view. Well, it's up to the government to take it or not and all that. So I don't think Dushyant is coming. I think he's got stuck somewhere badly.
Right, right. Looks
So,
like that.
but
Yeah.
I find
Let's
some
take a few.
interesting questions. I find some
Yeah,
interesting questions not only amongst those who have asked, we'll take and wait more. Of course, we have some 13 start questions. We'll do that. And some other
yeah,
questions, if you could read through and interesting ones you can put, we'll answer because
yeah.
we'll give clarity to people as to what this whole thing is all about. Yes, please, sir.
Kabir wants to know, good evening from the UAE. It looks like this war may take time, but can UAE and other GCC states come out of this faster?
They can't. Kabir, unfortunately, you're stuck there. I hope you're well. Take care of yourself and your family. Uh, have an exit option. Stock up at home. That's what I'll say. If there's this thing, I would say go back to the scout methods of making water at home. You'll be surprised. Even your refrigerator makes water at home.
Yeah.
The refrigerator water which comes out is water, incidentally. What comes out, it's good water. It's actually distilled water, right? So, not refrigerator, sorry, AC. AC.
I
The
see.
water which comes out of the AC is good water. Okay, it will solve a lot of your problems. So, right. So, UAE and GCC come out of this faster. They can't come faster alone. After all, they're also in the war. And today, Qatar and Saudi Arabia and everyone has said we are against Iran. Very clearly, they have said no, they're against Iran. So I don't see this happening. But take care. All I can say is take care.
Satish wants to know, is US shifting goalposts? Why was Epic Fury undertaken? Is Op Midnight Hammer a flop then?
Ah, let's go from backwards. Was Op Midnight Hammer a flop? Of course, it was a flop the way it was put out. It achieved a hell of a lot. Midnight Hammer achieved a hell of a lot. But it didn't wipe out the nuclear capability of Iran, or rather, nuclear, I would say. It's not nuclear capability, it's a nuclear, how do I put it?
Capacity?
Capacities, or the nuclear program of Iran. It didn't wipe that out. Okay. And once you've done that to a country, and a country which is proud of itself, okay, he'll say, yeah, it doesn't matter what I do. I have the know-how, I have the wherewithal, I have uranium. They have uranium mines in Iran. I'll make my uranium, I'll make my bomb. Right? What Midnight Hammer did and could have done further is that they could have dealt with Iran. If I were in the US side, I would somehow start talking to Iran and get them to the table, which they did get, and do a deal with them, and a verifiable deal. If you have not done that, well, just too bad. So Midnight Hammer was a part success. It was not fully successful. Right. Second, why was Epic Fury undertaken? It beats me even till date why Epic Fury was undertaken. Was it for Epstein files? You heard the whole things come from long. Was it for Epstein files? Was it for midterm elections? Was it to get Iran rid of nuclear capability, or destroy its program, or its missiles, or its this thing? There comes Dushyant. Yes. So we don't know, right? Okay. So we really don't know as to why it was undertaken. Is the goalpost shifting of US? Of course it is shifting. Every second moment it is shifting. One guy says something, the other guy says something. We don't know what it is. Why should I tell? The Americans are saying, "यार ये कहाँ goal post है? कि कहाँ जाके फंस रहा है?" You have gone into a football field where there's no goal post, and you're playing football. You don't know where to goal. I think.
Um,
Look, before we go further, let Jal Dushyant comment on this and the whole thing about the ammunition. Also, you get his perspective. Yeah, five
Welcome,
minutes
General
will spend.
Dushyant Singh, to the program. And before we start about this topic, I want you, if possible, to explain what happened in Kolkata and the human interest angle. Please do that, because we need these kinds of stories so that our people understand that insaniyat
Jinda.
so alive and well in India. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I think before I start my comments on the topic, it would be very much beneficial not only for individual as such, but for the entire society to know that our society still has people who are inherently good, inherently honest, inherently their integrity is unquestionable. And I am talking about an incident which happened to me about 4 days back. I was traveling from Srirampur, a suburban town of Calcutta, to the Calcutta airport on the old GT road. Old GT road is not very well maintained, and it has a lot of uh, potholes, etc. And the maintenance is very very poor. So when you drive a vehicle on that, there are a lot of these bumps which you get. It was a hatchback Ford Figo on which it was my son's old car. So I was using that, and a driver was driving. And as you know, drivers are in a habit of driving over speeding, especially when they are doing these kind of duties. So in the route, suddenly the dicky, the hatchback opened up, and I was carrying along with my suitcase a traveler bag, which is, you've seen these pilots and all carrying those, that kind of a bag in which I had my
Right.
laptop, I had my wallet, I had my cash. I mean, I had virtually everything which a man needs to survive as far as his identity is concerned. So all those things were there. So when it fell down, we realized it when we reached the airport that, look, my bag was missing and I had seen the dicky up. So we decided to trace back the whole path. I thought we will not be able to catch the flight, but we traced the whole path back to Shirirampur, but we could find the bag. So I assume that the bag has been lifted by somebody, and it is not going to be possible to me to recover that. So I reported the matter to the police and took the flight. There was still some time, half an hour or so. So I ran through the airport security, etc. Since I had done Digi Yatra, I went in. I reached Delhi, and it was around 12 o'clock, and the incident had happened around night 1:30 or so. It was almost 9-10 hours had passed. I got a call from an individual. He didn't tell me his name. He said, "Who are you?" So I was quite taken aback by somebody who is giving me a ring and asking me, "Who are you?" So I said, "Look, I am Lt Gen Dushyant Singh, and but I want to know, who are you?" Then he asked me, "Have you lost a bag?" Oh, then I connected that this guy must have found my bag. So I said, "Yes, I lost a bag in the early morning, late night of yesterday. So do you have it?" He says, "No, no, no. You first tell me what all was there in that bag. Which color was the bag?" So he inquired with me all the items which I had lost. Then he said, "Sir, I think I have found your bag. It is your bag only. But I want your Aadhaar card to ensure and match it with the visiting card which I have got." So I shared my Aadhaar card with him. I somehow trusted that this man is honest. I asked him his name. He said his name is Mukul Sharma. He said he is a driver and he drives a vehicle for Times of India. But during the rest of the time, he used to do additional duties, dropping people from airport to some place or the other. So he was doing multiple jobs to ensure that he has a decent amount of money to survive in a day-to-day activity. But he was quite a handsome guy in the sense that he had those modern Gen Z type of hair, etc. So from the face of it, you will find him as another Gen Z person moving around. But essentially, he was a cab driver. and he used to also send children to school, etc. He used to do all those kind of duties. So I told him, I will collect the bag from you. Then he said something very, very interesting, and this you all must focus, must deliberate upon. He said, "Sir, please do not tell the police." So I said, "Yeah, why? I mean, I must inform the police because I have told the police already." He says, "Sir, you will not get anything from your bag. They will snatch this bag from me, they will beat me, and they will also take everything out of this bag and say, Ki, sir, badi mushkil se, I have given you this particular bag and this guy was running away, etc., etc." He said, "Sir, you please send anyone who can come to me. I am here till 11 o'clock. I will give the bag to him. And in case if he's not able to reach, he was speaking from Calcutta and Sri Rampur is quite far away. So then my house is in Dum Dum Metro. I will give the location of my house. Please tell your person to come there. I will hand over everything intact as it is because nothing has broken, nor your laptop has broken. I saw it while I was returning back after dropping a particular passenger in Shri Rampur. So I sent my son, and he said, before you send your son, tell him to get his Aadhaar card and a proof that he is your son. So I saw the kind of inquiry which he was doing. It looked like a very, very decent man who's trying to ensure that the stuff goes to the right person and not that anyone else claims it. So when my son reached there, he asked for his Aadhaar card. He showed the entire bag. My son saw the bag. I'd already told him what all is there inside the bag. Believe you me, not a single thing. Cash, not too much. I mean, Fauji, how much cash we have. There was about 3,000 odd rupee was there. But more importantly, all my credit cards were there. All my identity card was there. My service card was there. And over and above that, I had the laptop, which had almost every data which I have preserved over a lifetime. And that would have all gone, and for me to recover those things would have been a problem. Of course, some of them would have been on the cloud, so I would have been able to download it. But overall, he returned everything intact. When my son, he said there are 3,000 rupees in this particular briefcase or suitcase, trolley bag. You please take all this. He said, "Sir, it was my duty. It was my respect for a military person. It was respect for our services. And because of that, I have done this. I don't want a single penny." I think this was a story which I have not seen in my life. I have lost my bags 3 times, and every time they have come broken, battered, and with everything lost. And this and one of them so happened. I don't want to share who got it finally, but what I'm trying to say is this is honesty par excellence, un unseen at least by me. I know there may be many more who shared on the Twitter as to who all had a similar experience. So hats off to all those people. They make the absolute strong foundation of India. And I am trying to get him some award if I can get. Let me see. There are some NGOs who honor such people. So with that, I think my brief story is over. Uh, I would like all of us to give a round of applause for him.
Yeah.
So now coming to the question proper of uh, today's show, which is how much ammo? Wow, what a question! When the Russia-Ukraine war was going on, there was a comparison made of artillery ammunition between America and Russia. Believe you me, the difference was not in 3 times, 4 times. Difference was in 100 times in capacity of making only. 12 to 14,000 a day was Russia, and they were around 300 to 400. That was the capacity of artillery ammunition. One is a democratic country, the other one was a bureaucratic authoritarian country. If you now translate that particular thing and that particular time, and there was no war being waged by America, what would be the condition today where the expenditure every day is $1.92 billion? And that is no mean money. There is a website where this this what do you call that, counter is going on of the expenditure being carried out by, and it's not an Iranian site. It's a I know. I, I will share the site so that all of you know that we can take it with a pinch of salt. It's a Russia TV site where it is showing the expenditure. But even if you take 50% out of it, 60% out of it, still it is hell of a lot of expenditure. Navy comes to about 1.5 billion itself. The maximum expenditure is actually on the Navy. So, because there are so many forces out there, there are the two aircraft carriers, Gerald Ford and Abraham Lincoln. There are other so many ships, frigates, etc. So, what I'm trying to say is that the ammo power of America is definitely on the lower side. But is it lower than the Iranians? Definitely not. Does the Americans have the capacity to, or it's not only America, it's also Israel along with them. Do they have the capacity to outlast Iran? Yes, they have. It's only that the Americans don't know where to go because they had thought that they are going to finish the war between by 3 to 4 days, and then there would be a regime change. The public of Iran will rise up. I have direct communications coming from Iran to my what do you call mobile, where they are saying just the opposite. It has actually galvanized even the people who were opposed to Ayatollah Khomeini into a nationalistic fervor, where America has now become the enemy.
Villain.
Yes, I'm not talking of the peripheral areas of Kurdistan, Azeri area, or Balochistan area, or Hazara areas next to Iran, next to Afghanistan. Those are fringe parts, and by and large, you cannot say which side they will blow. But Persians, 60% fully. As of now, the opposition is very limited, very limited. There is an opposition to Ayatollah Khomeini's son, who has been recently elected as the supreme leader. I have my own theory that he has been elected to actually be sent out of Iran as and when they find that the Iranian situation is likely to deteriorate, and most likely the destination would be either China or Russia. That's the only time we'll say, but that's my assessment. I think the ammunition power is not that important. What is important is sustainability of war by both sides. Iran is at a major disadvantage, subject to, if there is support given by the Russians and the Chinese, which is less likely, but if it is given, then Iran is on a very strong wicket, because uh, by air itself, you cannot win wars. Land is the currency of victory. And in this case, unless you do a regime change with a favorable person, I don't think you can declare, America can declare itself as victor. It will be a stalemate, it will be a checkmate, it will be whatever you want to call it. And any stalemate, any checkmate is, and without any regime change, is a victory for Iran. They have suffered a hell of a lot of damage, but then that's what great civilizations are made of. This is my observation. So as of now, I feel both are in a catch-22 situation. America is in a catch-22 situation. Should they leave? If they leave, it's a defeat. Should they continue to wage the war? Yes, they can do so. That is the approach which President Trump has taken. But what is more important is, can Iran sustain? In my view, left alone, Iran may not be able to sustain more than 14 to 15 days, another 14 to 15 days, and because they are almost down by 75%, and most of their attacks are there. They are quite good. They have been able to get some successes as far as the radars, etc., are concerned, and some damages. 8 soldiers have also died. The Iranians claim 200 soldiers killed of America, etc., which to my mind, I think is a maybe a little exaggeration. But civilians have been injured, and so America has been no better. 200 odd school children dead, etc., which they are also claiming to be. So overall, I think Iran is the weaker partner. Iran is less likely to sustain unless gets a life from either China or Russia. These are the only two countries which can actually help it. Of course, we should not forget North Koreans. But North Koreans are known to do quite a I would say they undertake steps which are totally out of the box. So if the North Koreans do something, I can't say so. But that is the only options available to Iran. and that old Crink alliance. The one person probably who may support Iran is North Korea, but it doesn't listen to US. US has not been able to do anything to it. It doesn't listen to even China at times. So if there is one person who can change the game, it could be him. So with that, I'll stop here. I think this is a broad observation. I'm not going into the details of data, etc. I was already engaged in a 1.5 hour podcast on Iran itself. So my mind is totally flooded with Iran. So I'll stop here.
I think all of us are flooded with Iran.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you
let's
so much,
continue with the
General
questions,
Dushyant.
sir.
Yeah, so let me just add one more thing. Remember, General Dushyant came on our channel on Thursday. On Thursday, he had just landed from that flight,
Yes.
and he improvised. He got onto the program on iPad. See, that tells you the commitment of our guests. He didn't want to miss that program. He was a little bit late, and I kind of know a little bit of the story, but you didn't see him say anything. I mean, if you have lost your laptop with a lot of information, your credit card, you would be in a slightly different state of mind. I didn't see that from you, General Dushyant. So hats off to you also. And now
Thank
let's
you,
go
sir.
to the questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next question. This is for General Dushyant. Sir, Iran worked on its nuclear weapon program and missile program. Why didn't Iran acquire fighter jets from Russia or China?
I think Iran traditionally has been over relying on missiles. Even if you see the first Iran-Iraq war, he was firing those silk bomb missiles, if you remember. So it had that inherent capacity to build state of the art missiles. So I think they betted more on their strength rather than acquiring new technologies. And also, it doesn't come cheap, these aircrafts, etc. So there may be many considerations. I don't know whether he was given some assurance, but I don't think they felt that the cheaper option is the better option. Incidentally, just to substantiate my point, there was a scientist in DRDO about, I think, 5, 6 years back. General Shankar would remember. He came out with an article that if you just focus on Israel on missiles, you will be able to beat any attack. This is you can Google it and you'll find that article. And this was told by a DRDO scientist. So there was this in between, this kind of a movement which was taking place that missiles can really replace the other weapon system, which is not so. I think that is where I think Iran went wrong.
Can I just add to this? Another thing is Iran was under sanctions. Immediately after the
Yeah,
Iran war itself, they went under sanctions. Now, if you
absolutely.
see, they had F-14s. They have F-14s of USA, of the this thing,
Pa- uh,
right?
the,
Of the Pahlavi dynasty days, Shah
yeah,
of Iran
yeah,
time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
after the revolution, after what happened, then the American hostage series and then the Iraq war and all that, they were under severe sanctions and they're not allowed to develop an air force.
That's
Right?
so.
Once they were not allowed to develop an air force, they felt we'll go the missile route because that was the easiest. And mind you, at that time, they were not that good with Russia or China. I'm not going back in history. And as a result, their air force never took off. Okay. And this continued. So when they got into this alliance with Russia and China and they went the missile route, I think it was far too down the line for them to even get help from Russia and China to develop an air force because they didn't have an air force. They didn't have the infrastructure for an air force. And they found suddenly, see, Iranians are very inventive. Remember that. Right. So then they found the easier option of going in for drones and missiles, this thing. So it became that way. Yeah.
Next question, please. This is for General Shankar. What if Iran gets a nuke before US can have ground troops in?
I don't think so. I don't think both are hypothetical at this point of time. Neither will Iran get nukes, nor will US put ground troops. Look, already people have started talking of exit options. Like what
Yes.
General Dushan said, another 14, 15 days, both of them will be like, two dogs on the thing with a tongue hanging out. So
With
they come
wa-
to some via media.
wagging their tail.
General
Yeah.
Dushyant, this is for you, sir. Under UAE strategic agreement with India, any idea if India is extending any support that has been requested of it?
I don't think so. I don't think India will get involved in this war. We would be, if we get involved, it will be more for dialogue, mediation, and
Yeah, that's it.
working for peace. Working for peace.
Next question, General Shankar. Will they use thermobaric bombs just to make Iranians surrender with daily expenses above $1 billion?
No. Look, there's this great deal about thermobaric bomb. Thermobaric bombs are actually they're not high explosive weapons. Thermobaric are fire starters. Okay, they're pyrotechnics. So thermobarics are not going to be defeaters of anything. They're not the ones. Again, ammunition is matching. You match the warhead with the target. You can't use a thermobaric for everything. Let me tell you, I've had a lot of experience with thermobaric. We developed thermobaric for artillery and gave it up. Okay, so and we gave. I mean, for reasons. It's not as if thermobarics are not good, but they're not going to win you the war alone.
You see, in Iraq, the fuel air explosive thing worked because they were all in the plain and the open. You see the
Open.
topography of Iran, it's not like that.
Very true. Very true. Mountainous. General Shankar, this is for you, sir. Oh no, this is for General Dushyant. Thank you for the brilliant talk. Given the number of Indians living in GCC, is there merit in India contributing to the defense of the Gulf monarchies in a strictly defensive military posture?
No. I see. India has to first build its own capacity. Yeah, we
Yeah.
ourselves are struggling with aircrafts. Today we want to have a 49 squadron aircraft. Air Force. We are way down to 29. I mean, पहले अपने घर को संभालो. First, strengthen your own house and own military capability, and then look for the others. We will export after we have finished with our capabilities on critical issues. Not everything. Combination we can keep exporting what you want to do. But rest of the things, I think we have to build our capacities first.
Thank you so much for your super sticker, Hemant. Next question to General Shankar. I agree with your planning process for offensive. Worry is defense planning in view of smart swarm attacks. One can go wrong in planning. Can you please explain? Thank you for your
I
attention.
don't think so. Don't worry too much. We've handled swarms also. Off Sindoor, we've done everything. We've done all this, right? So we're not worried. Don't get too carried away by. I mean, don't get too frazzled by all this. Capable planning, capable militaries handle their threats, and what fits someone else doesn't fit us, and vice versa. Okay. This is a horses for courses kind of a planning. You have to plan with your terrain and your threat perception. We are okay. Let me again put it. I'm not claiming that we are on top of the haystack or top of whatever we call it. We are okay. We know how to handle our threats. We saw that in Opsindur. Okay. People suddenly woke up to find that the people are learning from India now. Why are all these chaps coming? Why is General Dushyant going and speaking to all and sundry? They're all interested in the Indian point of view, how to handle the situation further. Okay,
Yeah.
you have to understand where we are. Yeah.
Next question to General Dushyant. Look at the objectives of the war put out by the White House. Has USA achieved even one of them?
None till now, except disrupting the world oil supply and putting the entire world in a global oil crisis. That was something which unintended consequences of. That's why I said such a war in the Strait of Hormuz is going to affect everyone. I mean,
It is already affected.
there's nothing positive which is coming out of this war, except that the Iranians are getting killed and some damages are taking place in the West Asia. What else? I mean, if there was a the regime change has been there. He says, I'm not going to stop. So we keep killing the leaders.
General Shankar, this is for you, sir. Critical infra should be moved underground in India as well to be ready for future warfare.
Oh, look again. What is your threat? Everything depends on threat, no? What is your threat going to come from? Where will you get threat from? Right. So, and let me tell you, certain critical infrastructure of ours is already underground. It's not as if everything is overground. Where it is required to go underground, it will go underground. In the battle scenarios, lot of it is underground already. You ask the infantryman, first thing he'll do, and he'll go and dig his trench and go inside. Okay.
And
So,
yeah, and there is lot of dual use infrastructure. Keep your eyes and ears open in Delhi. You will find
you
them
will see.
all in so many numbers.
I mean, let me give you a simple thing. All your metros which are underground are dual
That,
use.
that's what I was referring to.
All metros are dual use.
That's what I was referring to.
Next one, please. Ask US objective. This is for General Shankar. Oh no, it's for you, General Dushyant. Pliable leadership in Iran or defying their defense or nuclear program. All these factors undermine the self-determination of a populace. General Dushyant.
It's a comment. What should I comment on it? It says so.
I think you already answered this. You said that some of the people from Iran have been in touch with you, that even the
Yeah,
people who hated the regime are now backing as a
correct.
nation. So that is
Yes.
the takeaway here. And that happens in every country, viewers.
Yeah,
Thank you, Saksh, for your generous donation.
absolutely.
General Shankar, the way Israel is able to do non-stop attack on Iran and Lebanon is shocking. How Israel got the confidence and capability?
They've been doing this right from Yom Kippur
Inception.
War.
Nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing new.
Nothing new. Yeah.
It's an asymmetric war which they are fighting again and again the same thing.
They're good at
they
it.
still find, and they're still fine to have 3 children per family. Viewers, remember that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's an amazing country. Amazing country. Next question to General Dushyant. Trump can't take the oil, capture Ayatollah, run the country, feed Ayatollah lunch, spray perfume on him, or do regime change like Nepal or Bangladesh. What are his options?
His options are to find an off-ramp solution and get out of that place. That's the only thing that they are looking at.
Yes. Next one, please. General Shankar, can Israel's security system deal with cluster bombs?
No, they're not able to deal with it. You can't. There's no system to deal with cluster bombs today. Let me be very clear about it. You use cluster bombs, there is no. It defeats all systems across the board by every country. No country has the capability of defense against cluster bombs. You have to see a cluster bomb fired to understand what its impact. It shakes you.
Next one, please. General Dushyant, this is for you, sir. Based on your experiences during war, how do you see the trajectory and progression in terms of strategic actions of this US-Israel-Iran war in the next 1, 2, 3 weeks?
Well, I see it petering out basically because of the fact that till the time your war objectives are not achieved, you really can't get out of the war, and it will be something like the Russia-Ukraine war. I've got only two conditions to it. One is that if the Russians or the North Koreans or the Chinese start supporting Iran, then they are in for a long haul. Otherwise, there'll be now search for solution to get out of that place.
Thank you, sir. Next question for General Shankar. From where is USA getting the cash to fund this war? Is outstanding debt an imaginary number?
Petrodollar, reserve currency. He can keep printing. You see, the thing with USA is it's the only country which can print without, what shall I say, collaterals. They can print currency. So we are funding it. Actually, you and I are funding it by using dollars. So that's what it is. So the advantage of a reserve currency is it's got no one to answer to. There's no balance sheet to answer. So this outstanding debt is imaginary to a large extent. They can sustain it. And what is Trump's whole story? Trump's whole story is to continue with that petrodollar and consolidate that petrodollar. Yeah.
General Dushyant's iPad, I think, ran out of juice. So let's do the last question. This is the last question, General Shankar. Is Iran using missiles which increase their speed in the last lag of path before striking target?
See, if it is a sub-ammunition or a cluster ammunition, once the cluster breaks, you will get those small submunitions getting out, which will have their own propulsion, which will increase the speed. It's not that the missile will go fast at the end. Okay, the submunitions have their own, propulsion, which will increase their speed. That's about all.
Thank you so much, sir. An hour and 20 minutes just flew. And we also thank General Dushyant for joining us and sharing his life experiences. It's important that we understand that there is a war going on, and at the same time, there is something else also happening. Thank you so much, General Shankar. We'll be tomorrow, I think General Shankar is off. So for a few days, we will not have Good Morning India. But I'll put some updates like day 10, day 11, and so on and so forth. So that hopefully will fill the gap. And General Shankar, I'll give you the link, sir. You can also put it on Gunnershot, and that way we kind of keep you abreast of what's happening. Thank you so much once again, General Shankar and General Dushyant, and we'll be back again very soon. Namaskar.
Namaskar.